Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about personal privacy and the power of selective sharing, it's crucial to understand this: your story belongs to you. No one else can tell it, live it, or own it in the same way you can. This is a truth that brings both freedom and responsibility. In a world where social media and constant connectivity encourage us to share every thought, experience, and milestone, choosing how much of your life to reveal can feel revolutionary. But it's also empowering, grounding, and deeply protective. When we embrace the idea that our stories are ours to tell, we take control of how we are seen, heard, and valued. Ownership of our story means we aren't swayed by the need to validate ourselves through others' opinions or approval. Owning your story means that you define who you are on your terms, and this in itself is a radical act of self-acceptance. Think of it as reclaiming power that's often taken for granted. Every detail of your life you choose not to share strengthens your control over it. You get to choose if, when, and how others have access to your narrative. Each experience you've been through, good or bad, triumphant or painful, has meaning. When you choose not to share certain parts of it, you're honoring the depth and significance of that experience. Not every achievement needs to be publicized, and not every struggle needs an audience. When you decide that certain parts of your life stay with you, you preserve the sanctity of those moments. It's like placing a protective boundary around your experiences, allowing them to shape you in ways that don't require validation from the outside world. There's a common misconception that being authentic means revealing everything. In reality, authenticity doesn't mean full transparency. Authenticity is about showing up honestly in ways that align with your values and boundaries. You don't owe anyone full access to your life for them to understand who you are. People can know the real you without knowing every part of you. This distinction frees you from the pressure of constant sharing, letting you focus on what feels. Let's explore a powerful truth: your story is yours to tell or not tell, as you choose. In a world that often encourages us to share every detail of our lives, there's something deeply empowering about embracing the idea that your story is your own. No one is entitled to know everything about you, and every part of your life is yours to decide how and when to reveal, if at all. When we talk about owning your story, we're speaking to an act of self-respect and self-ownership. There's a beautiful strength in holding certain parts of ourselves close. Imagine it like a book where you are the author and only you decide who gets to read certain chapters. Some parts of that book might be open for everyone to read, like the lighthearted stories or the lessons you're proud to share. Other parts, however, are held close, cherished, kept within a more private circle, or maybe even just for you. Those pages are no less important. In fact, they are often the most significant because they hold pieces of your identity, experiences, and emotions that have shaped who you are. When you understand that your story is yours, you also begin to understand that sharing it is a choice, not an obligation. There is a misconception that if we don't share certain parts of our lives with others, we're hiding something, or that we're not being authentic. But authenticity isn't measured by how much of yourself you share. It's about being genuine and real with what you do choose to share. It's not about broadcasting every emotion, vulnerability, or detail. It's about honoring your right to choose. Authenticity in its truest form is selective. It means allowing people to see the parts of you that you want to share while keeping other parts just for you or for those who truly earn your trust. And this intentional choice protects your peace. When you decide not to let everyone in on every detail, you give yourself a sanctuary. This is a place within you that's free from judgment, free from misinterpretation, free from the world's demands. Think about how freeing it is to have parts of yourself that belong only to you. You become less vulnerable to the whims of others' opinions, the potential for gossip, or even well-meaning misunderstandings. You're not concealing your story, you're safeguarding it. This privacy becomes a way to keep certain parts of yourself untarnished by the world, creating a quiet space where you can grow, process, and simply be. Furthermore, owning your story is a path to self-discovery. When you're intentional about what you reveal, you're given the opportunity to understand yourself in ways that go beyond others' perceptions. This self-awareness builds a foundation of confidence, where your worth isn't tied to the approval or understanding of others. It's one of the greatest acts of self-compassion, knowing that you don't need to offer every part of yourself to be validated or accepted. Instead, you get to carry your story in a way that aligns with your own values and comfort, sharing pieces that resonate with who you are, rather than what others expect of you. And in the process, you also become a model of healthy vulnerability. You remind others that it's okay not to bear everything, that true connection and authenticity don't require an all-access pass to every thought or experience. It sends a powerful message. Being real doesn't mean being exposed. True connections, those that matter, respect boundaries. They understand that your choice to hold certain parts closed doesn't diminish the strength of your connection. If anything, it shows that you value yourself enough to share selectively, rather than out of obligation or a desire to fit in. In the end, it's about creating a life that's yours in every sense. A life where you honor your boundaries, make intentional choices, and recognize that every chapter of your story is precious. It's a life where you don't let anyone dictate how much of yourself you share or keep hidden. A life where you respect your experiences, knowing that some things are best left private. And that's okay. That's more than okay. It's a beautiful reminder that our most treasured stories are often the ones we keep closest to our hearts. Protecting your energy is one of the most powerful acts of self-preservation and respect you can engage in. When you choose to keep parts of yourself private, you're doing more than withholding details. You're creating a safe, nurturing space that allows you to be fully present for yourself and others. In today's world, with constant connectivity and the ease of sharing at our fingertips, it's easy to give away too much of our energy without realizing it. Every story shared, every piece of ourselves put on display requires energy. When we become mindful of what we're putting out into the world, we can reclaim that energy, channeling it back into our own growth, creativity, and peace. Think of your energy as a precious resource that needs to be safeguarded. Every time you share a vulnerable detail or reveal something close to your heart, you're offering a piece of your emotional energy. For those who haven't earned your trust or understanding, this can sometimes be draining or even disappointing. In choosing not to share every intimate aspect of your life, you're setting a boundary, preserving your energy for the people and moments that truly matter. It's not about being secretive or hiding. It's about recognizing the sacredness of your personal experiences and emotions and reserving them for spaces where they can be valued and held with care. When you choose to keep parts of your life private, you're also creating space for internal peace. Life is full of emotional ups and downs, and each experience we go through has an impact on our mental and emotional state. When we're selective about what we reveal, we're also protecting our mental landscape from external opinions, criticisms, and judgments. This boundary allows us to process our emotions in our own time and on our own terms, without the influence or potential misunderstandings of others. It's a way of respecting our inner process, giving ourselves the space to feel, reflect, and grow without feeling exposed or pressured to explain ourselves to the world. Choosing to protect your energy also deepens your relationship with yourself. When you're constantly sharing, you can lose touch with the reasons behind your actions and feelings because you're focused on how others will interpret them. By holding certain things closed, you allow yourself to experience your own thoughts and emotions in a pure, unfiltered way. This space fosters self-reflection and introspection, allowing you to understand yourself more deeply. You're giving yourself permission to navigate your inner world without needing to share every aspect with others. Over time, this becomes a powerful way to build self-trust, where you rely less on external validation and more on your own inner wisdom. The choice to protect your energy is also a way of setting expectations for your relationships. When people see that you respect yourself enough to create boundaries around your personal life, they're more likely to honor those boundaries too. It's a subtle but powerful message that shows others how you want to be treated. Those who truly respect and care for you will understand that certain aspects of your life are not open for public discussion. This doesn't create distance, but instead builds stronger, more respectful connections where each person values the other's personal space and privacy. Protecting your energy also gives you the ability to be more present in the relationships that matter most. By not giving your energy away indiscriminately, you have more to offer to those who genuinely appreciate and uplift you. You can be fully engaged with them, bringing your whole self to the relationship because you're not worn out by the demands of constantly sharing with others. You've reserved your energy for the people who bring positivity, love, and understanding into your life. This intentional approach to relationships allows you to nurture deeper, more meaningful connections, rather than spreading yourself thin, trying to be everything to everyone. Ultimately, protecting your energy is a way of showing up for yourself. It's a way of saying, I deserve peace, I deserve rest, and I deserve to honor my own boundaries. When you create this inner sanctuary, you're not just preserving energy, you're creating a space for your dreams, goals, and personal growth. You're choosing to invest your energy in things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and peace. In this protected space, you can focus on what matters to you without the distraction of constantly considering others' reactions or opinions. Every day we have a choice about where we direct our energy. Choosing to protect it doesn't mean shutting others out, but rather being mindful of who we let into our inner world. It's about cultivating a space where we can recharge, reflect, and simply be. In this space, we're free to grow and evolve, knowing that the parts of ourselves we keep private are safe, valued, and whole. Protecting your energy is a gentle reminder that you are worthy of this peace, and by nurturing it, you're building a life that is centered, fulfilling, and truly your own. Building boundaries is an essential act of self-care and self-respect. Boundaries aren't about keeping others out, they're about defining how we allow others to engage with us in ways that honor our well-being. When we establish clear boundaries, we set expectations for how we want to be treated, and in doing so, we create a safe space that fosters our growth, stability, and resilience. Building boundaries isn't selfish, it's a practice of valuing ourselves and ensuring that our energy, time, and mental space are protected. At its core, setting boundaries is about creating a buffer that shields us from unnecessary stress, conflict, or emotional overwhelm. It's about being intentional with what and who we allow into our lives so we can maintain a sense of inner peace. Without boundaries, we can easily become overextended, exhausted, and resentful. We might find ourselves saying yes when we mean no, taking on more than we can handle, or sacrificing our own needs to accommodate others. But when we put boundaries in place, we're better equipped to navigate life's challenges without losing sight of our own needs. Boundaries are essential for resilience because they allow us to conserve our energy for the things that truly matter. They give us the freedom to focus on our priorities, goals, and well-being without getting sidetracked by the demands or expectations of others. Imagine boundaries as a protective framework that allows us to channel our resources, time, energy, and attention toward the things that uplift us rather than drain us. When we're clear about our limits, we can be fully present in the relationships, projects, and experiences that are meaningful to us. This clarity builds a foundation of strength and resilience, as we're less likely to become overwhelmed or burned out. Building boundaries also empowers us to take ownership of our emotional responses. We can't control how others behave, but we can control how much access we allow them to have to our lives. Setting limits with people who may overstep, criticize, or drain us protects our emotional well-being and makes us more resilient in the face of life's challenges. By keeping certain aspects of ourselves or our lives private, we're also reducing the influence that others can have over our mental state. Boundaries help us maintain control over our thoughts and emotions, creating a buffer against negative influences or harmful interactions. Boundaries are not just about saying no, they're also about defining the terms of our yes. They give us the freedom to engage in relationships and activities that align with our values and support our growth. When we have healthy boundaries, we can interact with others from a place of authenticity and integrity. We're more likely to attract people who respect us for who we are and value the space we need to thrive. This kind of respect strengthens our resilience as we're surrounded by connections that are rooted in mutual understanding and support, rather than pressure or obligation. Building boundaries is a continual process that requires self-awareness and reflection. It starts with understanding our own needs, values, and limits. Sometimes this involves examining past experiences where we may have felt overextended or taken advantage of and recognizing patterns that contributed to those feelings. From there, we can establish boundaries that prevent similar situations in the future. This process of self-discovery is empowering because it reinforces our sense of agency. We're reminded that we have the right to decide what feels safe, healthy, and nurturing in our lives. Once we're clear on our boundaries, it's essential to communicate them effectively. This can be challenging, especially if we fear disappointing others or if we're unaccustomed to asserting ourselves. But communicating boundaries doesn't have to be confrontational. It can be done with kindness and clarity. For example, if a friend frequently expects you to be available at all hours, you might say, "I really value our time together, but I need to set aside some quiet time for myself in the evenings." By expressing boundaries in a respectful way, we create the opportunity for others to understand and respect our needs without causing conflict. One of the most powerful outcomes of building boundaries is the impact it has on our self-worth. Setting boundaries sends a message to ourselves that we are worthy of respect, care, and protection. Each time we honor a boundary, we reinforce the belief that our needs matter, that our well-being is a priority. This sense of self-worth is essential for resilience because it reminds us that we are capable of creating a life that aligns with our values. We become less likely to seek external validation because we know our own worth, which makes us more resilient in the face of criticism, rejection, or adversity. Finally, as we establish and maintain boundaries, we begin to cultivate a deeper sense of resilience that comes from within. We become more adaptable and less reactive to the external world, knowing that our well-being is anchored in our own choices and not in the shifting demands or opinions of others. We learn that resilience isn't just about bouncing back from challenges, it's about building a foundation that allows us to thrive regardless of what life brings our way. This foundation of resilience, built on the firm ground of clear boundaries, supports us in leading a life of purpose, strength, and fulfillment. In the end, building boundaries is a profound way to cultivate resilience because it allows us to create a life that honors who we truly are. Boundaries give us the strength to stand firm in our values, the clarity to focus on what truly matters, and the confidence to protect our peace. By setting and honoring our boundaries, we're not only building a shield against stress and burnout, but we're also creating a life that reflects our deepest needs and aspirations. We're showing ourselves in the world that we are worth protecting, that our well-being is non-negotiable, and that we are resilient, empowered, and whole. Growing in self-knowledge is one of the most empowering journeys we can embark on. It's the process of truly understanding who we are, our values, strengths, insecurities, passions, and limits. Self-knowledge allows us to align our actions with our true selves rather than living by others' expectations or by what we think we should be. It's a path toward authenticity, resilience, and fulfillment because it enables us to make decisions grounded in an awareness of our genuine needs and desires. This understanding of ourselves becomes the compass that guides us through life with clarity and purpose. The journey of self-knowledge often begins with curiosity and a willingness to look within. We're not born knowing everything about ourselves. Life experiences shape us, reveal different parts of our personalities, and teach us about our values and beliefs. Growing in self-knowledge requires a commitment to self-reflection and introspection. We need to ask ourselves the deeper questions: what truly brings us joy? What are our fears? What beliefs and values are non-negotiable for us? These aren't easy questions, and the answers can sometimes be uncomfortable. However, the more we explore these questions, the clearer we become about our purpose, and the more confident we feel in our identity. An essential part of self-knowledge is recognizing our strengths and weaknesses. Many of us focus on our weaknesses, often trying to improve or fix them. However, growing in self-knowledge also means acknowledging and celebrating our strengths. When we recognize what we're naturally good at, whether it's problem-solving, creativity, empathy, or resilience, we can focus on cultivating those qualities. At the same time, understanding our weaknesses without judgment helps us accept ourselves more fully. We don't have to be perfect to be worthy or valuable. By embracing our imperfections and limitations, we become more compassionate with ourselves and, in turn, with others. Growing in self-knowledge also means being aware of our emotional triggers and understanding why certain things affect us more than others. When we know what causes us stress, anger, or sadness, we can learn to respond to these emotions in healthier ways. Rather than reacting impulsively or suppressing our feelings, self-knowledge allows us to acknowledge and process our emotions. This awareness helps us develop emotional resilience and equips us to handle challenging situations without losing our inner balance. Over time, this self-awareness creates a solid emotional foundation, giving us the tools to navigate life's ups and downs with greater grace and stability. Another critical aspect of self-knowledge is understanding our values and beliefs. Values are the core principles that guide our decisions and actions, the why behind what we do. When we're clear about our values, whether it's integrity, family, growth, compassion, or adventure, we can make choices that align with these principles. Living in alignment with our values creates a sense of inner peace because we're acting in ways that resonate with who we are. Self-knowledge allows us to identify and prioritize these values, which in turn brings a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. When our actions reflect our values, we experience a life that feels authentic and meaningful. Self-knowledge also requires us to confront our fears and insecurities. We all have them, and they can often hold us back or cause us to act in ways that aren't true to ourselves. By exploring our fears and understanding their roots, we can start to dismantle their power over us. This might mean confronting limiting beliefs like the idea that we're not good enough or that we'll fail if we try something new. When we challenge these beliefs, we open up new possibilities for growth and change. This is how self-knowledge fosters courage. It gives us the insight to recognize our fears without being controlled by them, allowing us to take risks and pursue our dreams with greater confidence. A significant part of growing in self-knowledge is learning to listen to our intuition. Intuition is that inner voice that guides us, often subtly, toward what feels right or warns us when something feels off. When we're in tune with ourselves, we can trust our intuition to help us make decisions that align with our true nature. This doesn't mean we ignore logic or dismiss advice from others, but rather that we give ourselves permission to trust our own judgment. Developing this trust takes time, but as we learn to listen to and honor our intuition, we become more empowered to make choices that are right for us, even if they go against the grain or others' expectations. Growing in self-knowledge is not a one-time achievement, but a lifelong process. We're constantly evolving, and our understanding of ourselves grows with each experience, relationship, and challenge we face. What was true for us a few years ago may not hold the same meaning today. Self-knowledge requires flexibility and openness, allowing us to adapt and embrace our changing selves. As we grow, our values may shift, our passions may evolve, and our perspectives may broaden. This evolution is a natural and beautiful part of life, reminding us that we're never done with self-discovery. There's always more to learn, more to explore, and more to understand. Self-knowledge also plays a profound role in building healthier relationships. When we understand ourselves deeply, we're better equipped to communicate our needs, boundaries, and expectations with others. We can approach relationships with greater honesty, knowing what we're willing to give and what we need in return. This clarity allows us to build connections based on mutual respect and understanding. Moreover, self-knowledge helps us recognize when a relationship isn't serving our well-being, empowering us to make choices that honor our mental and emotional health. In addition to enhancing relationships, self-knowledge fosters self-acceptance. As we explore who we are, we start to see ourselves more clearly, flaws and all. This honesty allows us to embrace our whole selves, not just the parts we're proud of, but also the parts we may struggle with. Self-acceptance is a powerful outcome of self-knowledge because it frees us from the need to constantly prove ourselves or seek validation from others. We learn to stand in our own truth, content with who we are, without needing to fit into anyone else's expectations or ideals. Ultimately, growing in self-knowledge is about creating a foundation of inner peace. When we understand ourselves, we're less likely to be swayed by external pressures or opinions. We can navigate life with a sense of groundedness, trusting that we're making choices that reflect our true selves. This inner stability is a source of resilience that enables us to face challenges, adapt to change, and pursue our goals with confidence. We become our own anchor, knowing that no matter what life brings, we have a deep well of self-understanding to draw from. In the journey of self-knowledge, we not only discover who we are, but also cultivate the courage to be that person fully. It's a journey of uncovering, embracing, and honoring all that makes us unique. Through self-knowledge, we gain the clarity to live a life that feels true, meaningful, and fulfilling. And as we continue to grow in this understanding, we realize that this journey is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves, a journey that empowers us to live as our most authentic, resilient, and wholehearted selves. Embracing authentic connections is one of the most fulfilling experiences in life. True connection goes beyond the surface, beyond small talk and superficial interactions. It involves sharing our real selves, with all our strengths, vulnerabilities, dreams, and fears. Authentic connections are about being seen, heard, and valued for who we genuinely are, not who we think we need to be to fit in or be liked. When we embrace these kinds of relationships, we invite deeper meaning, trust, and joy into our lives. It's a choice to let go of facades and embrace our true selves, creating bonds rooted in honesty, empathy, and mutual respect. To cultivate authentic connections, we must first be willing to be authentic with ourselves. This requires a commitment to self-acceptance, a journey of knowing who we are and embracing all aspects of ourselves, the good, the flawed, and everything in between. When we accept ourselves fully, we can show up as our real selves in relationships, which encourages others to do the same. Authenticity is a kind of courage. It's choosing to be vulnerable and open, even if it means risking rejection or judgment. But the rewards are profound because when we're truly ourselves, we attract people who appreciate us for who we genuinely are, not for an image we're projecting. Vulnerability plays a key role in building authentic connections. It's about allowing others to see the parts of ourselves that we might usually guard or hide. Sharing our insecurities, fears, dreams, and even failures can be intimidating, but this openness is what creates genuine connection. Vulnerability invites trust, showing others that we're human, imperfect, and relatable. It's through these moments of honesty that bonds are deepened, as both people feel safe to express themselves without fear of judgment. True connection doesn't come from perfection, it comes from the willingness to be real, even if it means exposing our softer, less polished sides. Embracing authentic connections also means practicing active listening. In a world that's often focused on quick responses and multitasking, giving someone our full attention is a powerful gift. When we listen deeply, we're not just hearing words, we're tuning into the emotions, intentions, and experiences behind those words. Active listening is about being fully present, setting aside distractions, and making an effort to understand the other person's perspective. This presence creates a space where people feel valued and understood. When we show up this way in our interactions, we're building a foundation of empathy and trust, the cornerstones of authentic relationships. Authentic connections also require empathy. Empathy allows us to put ourselves in someone else's shoes, to feel with them and share in their experience. It's about recognizing others' emotions and responding with compassion, even if we don't fully understand their perspective. Empathy doesn't mean we need to have all the answers or fix their problems. It means being present with them, showing that we care, and offering support without judgment. When we approach relationships with empathy, we create a safe space for others to open up and share honestly, knowing they will be met with understanding rather than criticism or dismissal. Setting and respecting boundaries is another crucial aspect of authentic connections. Boundaries are not about shutting people out, but about creating a healthy space where mutual respect can flourish. When we're clear about our boundaries, whether it's time, emotional limits, or personal values, we're showing respect for ourselves and inviting others to respect us as well. In turn, respecting others' boundaries is a way of showing we honor their needs and individuality. Authentic relationships thrive when both people feel free to express their limits without fear of backlash. Boundaries foster a balanced connection where both individuals feel secure, respected, and appreciated. Authentic connections also embrace honesty. Honesty doesn't mean sharing every thought or feeling unfiltered, but it does mean being genuine in our interactions. It means giving honest feedback, speaking our truth with kindness, and not hiding behind what we think others want to hear. Authenticity involves expressing ourselves in a way that aligns with our true feelings and values. This honesty creates trust, as both people know they can rely on each other to be truthful. In authentic relationships, there's no need for pretending or putting on a facade. There's a mutual understanding that both people can be their true selves, even if that means having difficult conversations or facing disagreements. Another dimension of authentic connections is the willingness to grow together. Authentic relationships aren't stagnant, they evolve and deepen over time. This growth happens when both people are open to learning from each other, celebrating each other's successes, and supporting each other through challenges. When we embrace this growth, we recognize that relationships require ongoing effort, patience, and flexibility. Authentic connections allow us to expand our perspectives, challenge our assumptions, and become better versions of ourselves. This mutual growth strengthens the bond, as both people feel valued for who they are and inspired to reach their full potential. Authentic connections are also about letting go of expectations and judgments. When we expect others to be a certain way or judge them for their differences, we're creating barriers to true connection. Embracing authenticity means accepting others as they are without trying to change or control them. This acceptance is a powerful gift as it allows people to feel free and comfortable in their own skin. Authentic relationships honor each person's individuality, recognizing that diversity in thoughts, feelings, and experiences enriches the connection. When we let go of judgment, we open the door to deeper understanding, empathy, and genuine appreciation. Trust is a fundamental element of authentic connections. Trust isn't something that happens overnight. It's built gradually through consistent actions, honesty, and reliability. When we trust someone, we feel safe to share our innermost thoughts and feelings, knowing they'll be treated with care. Trust allows us to be vulnerable and open, fostering a deeper bond that can withstand challenges. Building trust requires integrity, keeping our promises, being dependable, and showing up consistently. In authentic connections, both people feel secure knowing that they can rely on each other, creating a relationship where vulnerability and honesty can flourish. Finally, embracing authentic connections means being open to love and compassion. Authentic connections go beyond mere companionship. They're about nurturing each other's hearts, supporting each other's growth, and finding joy in each other's presence. Love in authentic relationships is not based on conditions or expectations. It's about seeing and valuing someone for who they truly are. This love fosters compassion, a desire to understand and uplift each other, even in times of difficulty. Authentic connections create a space where both people can find comfort, healing, and a sense of belonging, knowing they are cherished just as they are. When we embrace authentic connections, we enrich our lives with relationships that offer depth, meaning, and joy. These connections don't just make us feel less alone, they remind us of our shared humanity, of the beauty in being real and imperfect together. Authentic connections ground us, bringing a sense of peace and fulfillment that only comes from knowing we are loved and valued for who we truly are. As we continue to foster these relationships, we create a network of support, trust, and understanding that empowers us to navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. In a world that often values appearances, authentic connections offer a refreshing reminder of what truly matters: the courage to be ourselves and the beauty of connecting with others in a genuine, wholehearted way. Allowing room for growth is a powerful mindset that enables us to evolve, learn, and become our best selves over time. Growth is a natural and essential part of life. It's the process through which we expand our knowledge, deepen our understanding, and develop new skills and perspectives. Allowing room for growth means embracing change, being open to new experiences, and understanding that we are always a work in progress. It requires us to release the need for perfection and instead welcome the idea that each moment is an opportunity for growth, whether it's through success, challenges, or even failure. One of the first steps in allowing room for growth is letting go of rigid expectations we may have about ourselves or others. Often we hold on to a specific image of who we think we should be or how we believe things should go. But when we cling too tightly to these expectations, we limit our potential and create unnecessary stress. Growth rarely follows a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, setbacks, and breakthroughs. When we allow ourselves the freedom to deviate from the original plan, we open the door to new possibilities that we may not have considered. By being flexible, we give ourselves permission to explore paths that may lead to even greater outcomes than we had initially imagined. Growth requires a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones. The comfort zone is a safe and familiar place, but it's also where growth tends to stall. Allowing room for growth means embracing discomfort and seeing it as a sign that we're moving beyond our limitations. This doesn't mean taking reckless risks, rather, it's about challenging ourselves in ways that feel manageable yet push our boundaries. When we take on challenges that stretch us, we build resilience, confidence, and adaptability. Each step outside our comfort zone teaches us something new about our capabilities, helping us grow in ways that wouldn't be possible if we only stayed in safe, familiar territory. A key part of growth is embracing a mindset of learning, rather than focusing solely on achievement. When we prioritize learning, we're more open to feedback, more willing to make mistakes, and more patient with ourselves during setbacks. Growth is rarely linear. It involves moments of progress as well as moments of struggle. By focusing on learning, we become less attached to immediate results and more invested in the journey. Each mistake becomes an opportunity for improvement, each setback a chance to build resilience. This mindset of continuous learning allows us to approach challenges with curiosity instead of fear, understanding that every experience, whether positive or negative, contributes to our growth. To allow room for growth, we also need to let go of the fear of failure. Fear of failure often holds us back from pursuing our goals or taking on new challenges because we worry about what others might think or how we might feel if we don't succeed. However, failure is one of the most powerful teachers. Each failure provides insights into what works and what doesn't, helping us refine our approach. When we allow ourselves to fail without judgment, we transform failure into a stepping stone for growth. We start to see failure as a valuable part of the learning process rather than a setback. And this shift in perspective empowers us to keep moving forward with confidence. Another important aspect of allowing room for growth is cultivating curiosity. Curiosity encourages us to explore new ideas, seek out different perspectives, and question our assumptions. When we approach life with curiosity, we become more open to change and more willing to explore paths that we might not have considered otherwise. Curiosity helps us view challenges as puzzles to be solved, rather than obstacles to be feared. It allows us to remain flexible, adaptable, and engaged, continually seeking to expand our understanding. By staying curious, we create a mindset that is receptive to growth, where each experience is an opportunity to learn something new about ourselves or the world around us. Growth also involves embracing the idea that there is no arrival point where we're done evolving. It's easy to think that once we reach a certain goal or achieve a certain status, we'll have made it, but growth is a lifelong journey. There will always be more to learn, new skills to develop, and deeper levels of understanding to reach. When we adopt a mindset of continuous growth, we free ourselves from the pressure of having to be complete or perfect. Instead, we allow ourselves to enjoy the process of learning and evolving, knowing that each stage of our journey brings us closer to our authentic selves. Allowing room for growth also means embracing change, both in ourselves and in our circumstances. Change can be unsettling, especially when it disrupts our routines or challenges our long-held beliefs. But change is also a catalyst for growth. Each time we adapt to change, we expand our capacity to handle life's uncertainties. We learn to let go of the old to make room for the new, whether it's a new perspective, a new skill, or a new way of being. When we view change as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat, we become more resilient, adaptable, and willing to embrace life's twists and turns. A growth-oriented mindset encourages us to seek inspiration from others rather than comparing ourselves to them. When we focus on comparisons, we may feel inadequate or discouraged, but when we look at others as sources of inspiration, we see what's possible for ourselves. We recognize that each person's journey is unique, and that we all grow at our own pace. By celebrating others' achievements and learning from their experiences, we allow ourselves to be inspired rather than diminished. This shift in perspective helps us see growth as a shared journey, where we can all learn from and uplift each other. Finally, allowing room for growth is about envisioning the best version of ourselves and taking small, consistent steps toward that vision. Growth doesn't require huge, dramatic changes often. It's the small, daily efforts that make the biggest difference over time. Whether it's committing to a new habit, learning a new skill, or practicing mindfulness, each small action contributes to our growth. By focusing on progress rather than perfection, we build momentum and confidence in our ability to change. Each step, no matter how small, brings us closer to becoming the person we aspire to be. In embracing growth, we unlock the potential to lead a more meaningful, fulfilling, and empowered life. Growth allows us to continuously evolve, adapting to life's challenges and uncovering new layers of our abilities and passions. When we allow ourselves the room to grow, we not only benefit personally but also contribute to a more compassionate and understanding world. We inspire others to pursue their own growth, creating a ripple effect that enriches our communities and strengthens our connections. Allowing room for growth is ultimately a commitment to live fully, with purpose, openness, and a heart ready to embrace all that life has to offer.
Thank you.